Well, look at us. Look at us. We are in Jasper, Alberta, at the beautiful Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge.
It's the JPL for those who know.
Where, unfortunately, tonight we were surrounded by a bunch of Oiler fans.
God, so they were fans because everyone was saying we. Was this not a staff event for the Oilers? Everyone said we.
Yeah.
I was sure this was a staff event for the Oilers.
As in, we really need more secondary scoring.
And we should have scored there.
We need Skinner to give us 900 goaltending. It's a different level, but don't want to be a bunch of sour pusses here. Oilers win it. Empty netter makes it a 3-1 final in a game. I don't know if did the Oilers deserve, did the Flames deserve a better fate? Because they did play well, not at first, but their second period on was much better. How would you classify, I guess, the tone of this game?
Well, I would classify that this thing isn't close unless Dan Vladar is great in the first period. So no, Dan Vladar, again, that's the second time in a week we've said he's had a really good game. And now it's not one or two or three, it's probably 5 really good games this year. And I think if there was a debate about who to start in net, we don't know what Dustin Wolf would look like tonight, but Dan Vladar performing well tonight is a very good thing for the organization.
Yeah. And it's a harsh reminder that because I was thinking about that when I was just outside, it would have been 3-0, 4-0 in the first period if it were not for Vladar, because he was sensational.
5 or 6, like legitimate. And the great irony of it all is all those 5 bell saves he makes in the first period. Of course, it's a puck that goes off a shin, glove, post, and in that stands as the game winner.
Yeah, the hockey gods not seeing it the way we see it, I guess. Maybe Dan Vladar deserved a little bit better. So it's back-to-back losses in terms of regulation losses.
2 good teams, yeah.
Flames haven't lost. Well, they've only lost back-to-back in regulation, going all the way back to the 6-game skid. There was one, they had 2 regulation and then 2 extra time losses.
That's it.
So they've proven, at least in regulation, no crooked numbers. They managed to get back on track.
And again, they didn't get blown out. That's on brand.
And they've got St. Louis on Tuesday. That's a team that sits ahead of them in the standings in terms of point percentage. So if they want to continue their chase and try and climb up the board towards a wild card, that's a big game.
And on the flip side, if you fall to St. Louis and you play well but you don't win, it's just another indication that like you can play well and have your a solid effort and be a goal or 2 short, because they've been that 2 games in a row now. And as much as you see a 4-game winning streak and you want to get excited about maybe you get in and you get a goalie hot, the flip side is it's now 2 games in a row where you've watched a club that has been built by high draft picks and very highly skilled players that has made more plays. Now, it wasn't necessarily those guys that did it tonight, but your goalie was exceptional and you were in it, but it never really felt like they were going to win that one.
It felt like, in a way, that Arizona game back in Calgary where they were not very good, and then they got a couple in minute 3 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
then they found a way to win. You're really kind of you're hoping the hockey gods find a way for you when you're trailing in the third period. It's great that you have all these comebacks, but trailing in the third period is not the recipe.
And you were going to need a triple deflection to go in on your side to win the game. The Oilers can't get that bounce, and you're going to win. It's just no.
What do you make? We'll talk about Vladar more in a moment. Skinner, for him, again, Oilers 13 in a row, longest winning streak by a Canadian team in NHL history.
10 for Skinner.
10 for Skinner. He's 17-2 in his last 19 starts.
He's hanging around 940 right now,
which is
over this heater he's on, whether that's 8 or 10 games, somewhere in there. It's a ridiculous number, and it's completely unsustainable, and it's amazing. It's what a run looks like for a goalie. It's what Sergei Bobrovsky looked like for a month when Florida got all the way to the final. And, Rod Brindamore famously said it's not a sweep. And it's like, yeah, you can outplay a team and lose, but I also didn't think they really got all over Skinner.
I didn't either. I was going to ask you, were there any 10-bell chances or what is it? Heat map, heat zone, heat.
I haven't looked at any maps or
heat thing. The heat, not
the
a lot of
in the lobby.
Yeah, red hot.
Really, and I saw you putting hot sauce.
You put a little buffalo in there. Yep.
So that was the heat zone there.
Pro tip: there'll be a heat zone right about here. Shortly. For Betway, great sponsors of ours. They of course Betway highlighted the night. They take care of us with our football picks and all of that.
They've absolutely drilled it this weekend.
That's been quite a weekend. We'll talk more about it on the other show, but it has been a great time up here. But for Betway and highlighted the night, we'll just envision the Vladar montage because he made a ton of saves, and it does stink that the one somehow, and again, Gagne behind the net, you could do that 1,000 times. Throw the puck back towards the crease. It would never happen.
No.
But it did.
It's a triple deflection.
So leg, Vladar,
glove, post, it's ridiculously improbable.
I saw Robert Munich from Flames Nation. He was tweeting and just kind of giving his thoughts and points on the game. And he said, with Vladar's play, Craig Conroy should be able to find a deal. There would have to be a market of some sort for Vladar, given how he's played the last stretch of games. His play, I agree, would have some teams talking, but do you think it's...
I don't know if there's enough sample, but it's the right direction, right? And the good news is you've got, 6-7 weeks until the deadline?
Yeah.
So if you get more of this Vladar, I'm starting to lean towards maybe they can trade him, whereas a month ago you're like, you can't, no one's even claiming on waivers at this point. He has to show you something.
And I guess we should explain
toolsy, but
we should explain why we don't. It's because of his salary and his term.
2.2
million,
right? One more year.
It has nothing to do with his play. I would think based on his play, to a certain extent, teams would be interested. But like you say, you could put him on waivers. He's 2.2 million.
Yeah, no one
teams are up to the cap, especially contending teams. You would think by and large, Winnipeg kind of an exception, but they don't need a goalie. So it's. It is a little bit unfortunate for Craig Conroy because he does have a tradable asset there based on play, but that's a hard deal.
Well, and it was a harder deal a month ago. It's an easier deal today. Where is it in a month? And where are you on March 8th? Yeah. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, we'll take a 6th for him. And you're like, well, it's better than nothing. And I do feel like the organization owes Dustin Wolf a little face time. And I think we've talked about how beneficial a Markstrom-Wolf pairing could be for both.
Yeah.
Markstrom's been a great mentor. We saw that with Demko. Wolf could use just the regular reps of being in the NHL rather than the yo-yo. He's too good for the AHL. We just don't know what he is at the NHL level, and that's a good spot for him to learn under a guy that's going to get some Vezina votes this year.
Led to believe Markstrom is close to returning. Maybe could have backed up tonight, doesn't. 3 games, and now you wonder with 3 games, we'll talk about it in the road ahead, St. Louis, Columbus, Chicago all at home. Mm-hmm. Is this now... you keep running with Vladar? Do you just let Markstrom? It's just one more week. You may as well take. It's 3 games that don't matter, or that because Vladar is playing so well. I mean, it's not like you're tossing them out, tossing them in the garbage because you'd be playing Vladar necessarily or Wolf.
I guess the way Vladar is going, you're right. You don't have to rush Markstrom back. I get the sense that if this was playoffs, you might not have missed anything.
Yeah,
like it's regular season, and we've got 3 guys, and we've seen how good Markstrom's been coming off rest. Like. Mm-hmm. If we're going to err on any side, it's get him more rest and let's see some of the other guys. But I'd love to see Vladar and Wolf this week.
I would too. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Whether it's keeping Markstrom healthy for a push or for a potential trade, wherever box you want to tick on that, he is better when he's had time off. And this is not injury, but I agree with you. It sure sounded like they were being extra careful.
It's not something that this team would do if it was the last week of the year and they were a point out of a playoff spot.
Yeah.
It's definitely we have time. Let's use time. We also are very intrigued by these 2 other goalies, and we'd like to see a little more run for number 80 because if he can play well, that might be a card we can play later.
There you go. That's the Betway highlight of the night. Dan Vladar.
Danny boy.
Plenty of highlights from him tonight. A presentation of Betway, the official gaming partner of Barnburner and Afterburner.
Someone's saying I'm wasted in the chat. Jeez.
They're not wrong. We'll take a break. Stay there, though. We've got Hungry for More, Village Honda, and 2 guys. One, a rookie, but he's got games under his belt. The other guy, his first NHL game tonight. We'll assess Klapka and Coronado in 2 minutes. Stay there. Just 2 minutes.
Just 2.
BK Beaufort Liquor is a proud sponsor of Afterburner. In fact, our very first sponsor ever, right back to our first Afterburner ever. Big thank you to Mandeep, Manjeet, and Jazz. Huge Flames fans, a heck of a family. Good-looking cashier, Mandeep, as well. Find them right across from Winsport on the Trans-Canada Highway. Whether you're grabbing some beer for your place in town or you're heading to the mountains, make sure you stop in, say hello. Whether it's a specialty wine, liquor, 6-pack of beer, whatever it is, check it out and grab it at BK Beaufort Liquor. We've been telling you about our daily survivor pool at dailyfaceoff.com for Wendy's. Now, you know SOG, GAA, and PPG can make or break your week. But don't overlook the BPMM. The Wendy's Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt. Aha, the BPMM. Sure, it may not help you win your weekly fantasy prizes at dailyfaceoff.com, but unlike your predictions, it never, ever disappoints. Oh, BPMM. So try your luck, but don't push it, because the Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt is only back for a limited time. And if you miss it, you're not getting a second chance. So sign up for Daily Face-Off today. It's the Survivor Pool, sponsored by Wendy's and the Wendy's app. Love that. BPMM. There's not much better than hockey season, and yeah, you can always cheer on your favorite team at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino's Stage Bar. You can enjoy the games on the massive big screen TVs they've got hanging above the bar. Friends, drinks, delicious food. Let's go. Visit Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.ca for more information. Now, maybe it's not game time yet, but there's always happy hour in the afternoon. Make the most of your day with great drinks and food at the Stage Bar and Blaze Bar and Grill for the happy hour every day, 2 to 5 at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Great food, specialty drinks, all starting at $5. Visit Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.ca for more information. We'll see you there.
Flames are halfway through their 6-game homestand. 3 more. We'll take a look at the road ahead for Village Honda. Village Honda, they're your dealership for life. You walk in those doors, it's like beautiful. Still relative. Basically, it's a new dealership.
Shining.
It's sparkling.
Glistening.
Has that new car dealership smell. Delicious. New, pre-owned. Maybe, I think a lot of it's still, because Honda, they updated a lot of their line. The Accord is new. The Pilot is new in terms of styling and all of that.
You were massively impressed by the Pilot.
I really like the Pilot.
Because you said they made it boxier and a little musclier.
It looks, it looks a little bit more, I think,
stout.
Yeah, it looks sporty, and I liked the Ridge line when it came out, because it kind of had a bit of a stout look to it, and then they started to kind of soften the edges a little bit. Let's toughen those up. I like the Pilot.
Them up, yeah.
Get in there, take the Pilot out for a ride. See if you agree with me. In the Northwest Auto Mall, your dealership for life. So yes, halfway through the 6-game road trip. That means
a third to go.
2 or
we're gonna need
2 games.
do you have?
There's some games left.
Who's in our data department?
They'll be all played this week before the All-Star break.
It is a Tuesday St. Louis. It is a Thursday Johnny Hockey returns. And Saturday they'll close the homestand against Chicago. They're 1-2. And these were the 2 that you really were the measuring stick games. The other games are not unimportant. They also each have 2 points available, as we know. But Chicago has been a tough out for them despite being awful. Columbus, I don't know what you're getting there. That team is a very, very complex thing.
It is, for sure.
And St. Louis has been what we thought, which was a team that's probably a bubble club. They've changed coaches, and they're a little bit better than the Flames. They would probably be, with Nashville, the favorites to win that last playoff spot. I think there's 7 teams that are in, and the rest of this mucky middle, one of them will get the last wild card.
Yeah.
Is it St. Louis? We'll get a look on Tuesday.
LA and Nashville, the 2 wild card teams as of this moment, and then it's Arizona, St. Louis, and then Calgary. And you've got there's a lot of teams. There's lots to be sorted out for sure. So that's the road ahead for Village Honda. Northwest Auto Mall, your dealership for life. The Pilot. Give the Pilot a shot. You're gonna like it. I just kind of lost my my train of thought. Before we move on, we had talked on the other show with Red about these 2 games, what you needed next week out of the 3, and what you needed, and it was you need a split against the Leafs and the Oilers. Well, you didn't get it.
Sure didn't.
But you had tied the game at 4 against the Leafs with about 10 minutes to play, and it got blown off and you couldn't get back in. And here, if it's not for a fluke goal, you're tied with the Oilers in the 3rd period. Mm-hmm. It's 0 points, and we're style points, more moral victories. They don't do anything for you. Did the Flames show you anything against two that we were using as a measuring stick?
They showed us what they've shown us since December when they played the Vegases and Colorados and Dallases of the world, that they can hang. They just can't be counted on to have one more goal than those teams at the end of the night. They're good to compete with them, but they're generally going to be one goal shy.
Yeah.
Or you get into overtime, or maybe everything goes right and your goalie's sensational and you win. But it's very, very mucky middles land. It's bubble out. It's 8-12 in the West. It's what they've been far too often in the last 20 years, sadly.
It's you can use it after every game that probably if you had a little more skill, you're just it seems like they're always just a little less skilled than their opponent, either if it's one star player or just an overall. Maybe they don't have a McDavid, but in terms of the top 4 or top 6 or on the blue line, they're just have a little bit more. And that comes back to the macro. How do you get those guys? It sure seems like it's teams that tumble to the bottom of the standings and draft high and try and offload some assets and get it moving. Tonight, Elias Lindholm, 22 minutes. Backlund, I thought, did a good job against the McDavid line. McDavid held off the score sheet. That's the best you can hope for. On any given night. So curious. I again, talking to a lot of people here. Everybody wants to talk hockey, and it's what's going on. And we were talking earlier that there's at no point do I feel like there's anything in the way for Elias Lindholm. He still just feels, it almost feels like a guy to me who's being a good soldier, being a good teammate, coming out and playing. But I still wonder if his mind is really focused on March 9th. Where am I telling my wife, and where are the kids? What's life going to be? And then July 1, which I guess is natural. But I feel like everybody else, Tanev gives you it all. I've liked Hanifin for the most part, and I'm not sure tonight what you make of him. But Lindholm in a big game in 22 minutes, I didn't see a ton.
Is he a guy that we expect to break this game open, or is it just further confirmation that he's your 2C?
Yeah, I don't know if we need more confirmation. We've been feeling this for a long time.
So if we're saying he's a second-line center, we all seem to agree on it now. Is a second-line center playing against a team that has Draisaitl and McDavid going to be a difference maker? Sadly not. You don't have a 1C to break this game open. You don't have a 1W.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a winger that is a top-line guy on a contending team. You don't have a Rantanen. You don't have a Nylander. You don't have a Pasternak. This group, the more I watch them, they're very hardworking. I think they're pretty structured. It's a lot of second and third line players in the forward group. And tonight the fourth line looked pretty AHL-y. And then the third pair is not NHL caliber right now. It looks like a bunch of sevens playing 5-6 minutes. But their top 4 is probably a bunch of 2-3s. They don't have top line players. They don't have a number 1 defenseman.
I guess to that end, just talking about defense, because you brought it up, the stint for Oliver Shillington with the Wranglers has come to an end. So they have to make a decision. And we've been on the same page, all of us. It's going to be Oliver's decision when he's ready to take the next move or to make the next step. That'll be on him. I don't know what that means. Does he get elevated to the big club and taken off LTIR and then gets back into practice, or you practice before? I don't know what that's going to be, but something that will focus. It's not going to be obviously before the All-Star break, you don't think, but
no,
that could be something that we'll be monitoring.
And I believe they can request an exemption from the league. They don't get cap relief, but they can keep them down conditioning based on these unique circumstances. The league doesn't want teams to use this to circumvent the cap, and this is clearly not that. This is a unique situation. If you told me someone had played hockey since May of 2022 and like, oh, they've got 10 days to get ready, it's like, that doesn't make sense. I'm sure there's something that can make sense here that I think the outcome is he plays a little more time in the A. Long story short.
There you go. Let's do a little bit of Hungry for More for DoorDash.
Yes.
You know how DoorDash works. You get on the old DoorDash app and your phone, you start looking around. Well, what is it? That's what I want. That's from where I want it, and I want it now. Or do I want?
I don't want to leave my house. I just want to stay here.
That's right. Nation 25 is the promo code. We've been telling you about it for a while. It is still In effect, for a limited time, our viewers and listeners 25% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more with the DoorDash app and promo code Nation25. Why wouldn't you? I mean, I would. I can't. I would, but I can't. So, but I would.
Once you do your first order, it
Right.
can't be your first order again. It's then your second.
It's my first order today.
Right.
And they said, fat boy. It's not how it works. Stupid.
Hey, dummy, you ordered breakfast at 11. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot.
Oh, did I do that? Yeah, that was today, right? Oh, okay.
God
darn
damn
it.
I napped twice and said I didn't even know that
had
was today.
no clue. So hungry for more for DoorDash. What are you feeling tonight?
It's Dan Vladar, and it doesn't have to be like the start Tuesday. It'd be okay to get Wolf in there, but just keep playing like this.
Mm-hmm.
You said it the other day, and it's a really, really good summary. If you have a couple of words to say, what is this player? Like, he's a battler.
Yeah, I
and
like.
It's like sometimes there's one that you don't love, but it's just he fights, and you see the range of tools that he's got today. He's big. He can move laterally. He's athletic. Like the save he makes on Connor Brown is exceptional.
Yeah.
And these are the tools. And we kept talking about why don't the numbers bounce off the page, like or jump off the page? There's nothing there. It's very pedestrian numbers in 3 years here. Like, why do you think you guys could talk about a trade? And it's like, well, there are tools that GMs can dream on. And tonight's a night where a scout could say, damn it, we put him on a team that's got a third pair that's better defensively. Like, I think he's a goalie.
Yeah. The battler, and he sometimes is so, you just think of Carey Price. He's just one of the smoothest goalies we've seen in the last, 20 years. The economy of movement is butterfly, just moving. That's not Dan Vladar.
No.
But if you're not going to be that guy, then you better fight for every puck, and you never give up on a puck.
Yeah.
And that's Dan Vladar.
And it helps that you're big if you're going to be that player, right?
Yeah, you can throw your body in
Your
there.
limb's going to cover a lot further than Dustin Wolf's.
Yeah.
Dustin can't be this goalie.
Which
Only
probably,
Dan Vladar can be this goalie.
not to take away from he's a very good goaltender, obviously, but I think there is some of that because he's aggressive in the crease and because he is so big, he's going to get to some pucks that maybe he wouldn't otherwise. So that is Hungry for More for DoorDash, restaurants, groceries, pharmacies, bakeries, flower shops, and more. Ordering's easy. Get that app. Get her done and use promo code Nation25. Save 25% of your first order over $15 or more. Dash that for the win. Mentioned before the we'll get to it just so we don't tee it up and not talk about it. Matthew Coronado back into the lineup. Pospisil out seemed like a natural spot. Put him on the line with Kadri and Zary, and I won't. It was not a whole lot there. It didn't stand out, which is maybe neither good or bad. But the line as a whole for Kadri, he had the 8-game point streak that comes to an end tonight. Zary's been very good.
They were quiet.
It was a quiet night for those guys.
Yep, and I'll give the Oilers credit. Like, there just wasn't, even when the Flames had some pressure, it was a very nice environment for a goalie to play in.
Yeah,
and you haven't saying about the Oilers a lot in the last 5 years. Ekholm has really helped them a ton. Bouchard's looking a lot better in his own zone. It's a much better blue line than what they had a year ago.
Yeah.
That's for Ekholm, I tell you.
Yeah, and they could use another one of those.
A right-handed Ekholm is what
you could bring in a guy.
Want.
Yeah. We'll talk about it next week. 14 minutes, 9 seconds of ice for Coronado, 2 shots, no points. Adam Klapka, 6 minutes, 4 hits.
Ran into a guy.
A guy. So, exciting for him. First game is a Battle of Alberta.
Long shot. Tyler Moss is here with us. He's playing on the Nation team, and he's, I guess, got a bit of a relationship with Adam. They're texting, and he knew he was going in, got called up, all that. He's excited for the kid, says he's just a phenomenal human. Mama's welling up in the suite, and it's like, this is a pretty cool underdog story. This is not a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
This is a guy that I'm sure many people thought would never play an NHL game.
We'll get to some questions. You've been firing them into the chat. You can do so. It'll be a brisk round of burning questions.
Torrid pace.
So torrid. Stay there. 2 minutes.
Are you thinking of buying or selling your home in the Calgary area? Well, there's one guy you've got to talk to. That's my pal, Derek Newman. Derek, born and raised in Calgary, volunteer, a pillar of the community, huge sports fan. hurls, golfs, all kinds of sports. Not to mention, yes, he loves, indeed, the Calgary Flames. So if you want to talk real estate in your community, or you just want to chat about the Flames and what's going on in the sports world, you can give Derek a call. Incredibly friendly and approachable, but more importantly, trustworthy and incredibly hardworking. Take advantage of their complimentary in-house home staging consultation. Also, whether it's your first time or you're a seasoned buyer or seller of homes, he's going to understand what you're looking for and help you meet your goals. Also, Derek's network, substantial. He's able to find some homes that aren't even on the market yet. So whether you're buying or selling, or you just want to see what's going on with the value of your place, give him a call or a text. He's going to get back to you right away. Derek Newman of Newman Deans Real Estate with CIR Realty. Let Derek put his network to work for you. Call or text Derek right now at 403-619-6661 or email him at dnewman@cirrealty.ca.
Greta, it's our home away from home for Afterburner. We'll be there for live watch parties throughout the season. Should be your spot regardless. Before, during, and after the game, grab a cocktail, something from the menu, let the games begin, or maybe you get into the game yourself. Over 50 arcade games from vintage to state-of-the-art. Load up some credits on that Greta game card of yours and get at it. Greta Calgary, located at 213 10th Avenue Southwest. Check them out online, gretabar.com. We are well into the winter months now, and you can feel it, can't you? That urge to get away. Maybe some beach time to warm up those bones of yours, maybe a hockey, sports kind of road trip. Well, when you pack your bags, make sure you don't forget Alberta Blue Cross. There's only one thing better than sharing memories, and that's making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance protects your memories and more, wherever travel takes you. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. Alberta Blue Cross, celebrating life's memorable moments inspired by hockey. Questions. Burning questions. We'll get to them here inside. If you want to get in the chat, and we'll get to them. Another night, Ryan. I feel like a broken record. It's kind of like when the Huberdeau was struggling, you just didn't talk about it anymore because it was just a thing.
Yep.
The power play, which is dead last on home ice in the National Hockey League, 0 for 3 in the power play.
So what you're saying is it can't get worse.
It can just not in standing. Percentage-wise, It can drop. Another 1-goal hockey game where potentially a goal from your power play would have made a difference.
Oh, it completely changes the complexion of this game, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thought I'd get that out there.
But, the teams that have really good power plays are built a little differently than this one.
Yeah, they're not as complete, Mackenzie Weegar, 25-38, 6 shots. He has the lone goal.
Is that his 10th? I was thinking
it is his 10th.
That's a lot. I don't know that he's going to get to 18 or whatever he's on pace for, but 15 from a D-man, you would be whistling Dixie.
Yeah.
Is that what you say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That guy.
Well, the saying is you're not just whistling Dixie, right? That's how that goes. Saw the waitress. I have to pay for my bill.
I do too.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I gave her a huge tip because I didn't want to wait for change.
Okay. Like, where are those a-holes from? Where's the fat guy and the mullet guy? Anyway.
Mullet guy.
Yeah. Let's we'll do some questions here.
No,
for you.
Whistling Dixie.
You ain't just whistling Dixie. Kevin, what do you think of Klapka? I'd like to see more. Yeah, I know he is. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
right?
More. Yes, more.
I'd like to see more from him next time, and I'd like to see more of him in terms of opportunities to show us more. I guess it was.
Yeah, and Dylan Dubé is at a point now where it's not like you missed anything he did, but you'd hope someone would make themselves hard to take out of a lineup more than Klapka maybe did. But he's big and he ran into people, and Edmonton's good. I don't know.
And when you're on the fourth line, what am I getting? 5, 6, 7 minutes? However many shifts that is, you got to make all of those count, and that can be hard sometimes when you go out there. Am I running around? Am I trying to cause turnover?
That is
right?
It's a really small number tonight, and that's why we didn't see a lot of them. AJ Greer, 6-13. And Jordan Osterley hardly played.
Yeah,
that third pair is starting to kill him.
Anderson, you can look at the minutes there. I mentioned Weegar, 25-38. It was 24 and change for Anderson, and Hannafin the same.
Hanifin 23-38.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. 3 guys over 23 minutes. Wow. Yep. 4 guys over 23 minutes. Wow.
And we talked about that on the other show maybe last week. How sustainable is that? Whether you're a playoff team or not, that's a lot of minutes. That's wear and tear. That's a grind. And
I don't even think about that. I just think about, like, imagine you trade Tanev.
yeah,
Like,
I know.
what the are we looking at now?
Yeah.
Like, if Shillington's here, that changes everything. But until he is,
Yeah, and you hope that's the case.
it would be
right?
nice.
Yeah.
But and then think, okay, let's say we're going back and forth. I'm a GM, you're an agent. We can't come to terms. It's a Noah Hanifin contract. Okay, well, we have to trade you now.
Yeah.
It's another defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
Like this could be the Osterley, Kuznetsov, Soloviev, DeSimone,
Warner,
square dance.
Yeah.
You're not far from Warner.
Yeah, which is scary.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, terrible.
I did like
spot.
the frosted tips though. I saw an old picture.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that could be your thing now. Imagine a mullet with frosted tips.
At this point, what
yeah,
am I worried about?
that's right. Sorry, Jack. Yeah. Any chance or desire to take trade offers for Blake Coleman, given his hot streak?
Sure, but I mean, again, we don't see players with term move, especially with as much term as him. He's a great player. He'd be an improvement on a lot of teams' third-line wingers. He's a winner. He has 2 cup rings. It's not what teams are looking for. They don't want players with term.
Yeah, not quite the same as Vladar, but it's another player who you would be very happy to add a player of his ilk to your team.
Mm-hmm.
But the contract and term make it cumbersome for sure.
He's fine at this point. If this was the last year of his deal, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not.
Because where is he?
He's halfway through a 6-year deal.
Dollar-wise, he's
4.9.
4.9. So he's
Yeah. It was the same summer Hyman signed. He got 7 years and a little more money, and Coleman was under the 5 number at 6 years.
So there again, if you're a contending team, you would think you're paying a lot of guys. Do you have room for a $2.2 million backup or a $5 million third liner? It's
probably not, Dean.
Probably not would be the answer.
And if you are going to open up $4 or $5 million of cap space, you're probably going to try to do that on a significantly better impact player and have someone eat money rather than take on 3 years of someone on the 16th tee box.
We're skeptical.
Skeptics.
That's where I'm going to. That's what I'm going to say. There, we are. Skeptical.
Never mind the no move. He loves it here. Yeah.
Do we have space to keep Tanev?
What kind of space? They certainly aren't flush with D-men where they can't find room to play him.
They have plenty of room in a top 6 for him for sure.
Tough for you, man.
And depending on what he would command in dollars, I think you could afford him.
Certainly, especially if you're going to move out what we think they're going to move out.
Yeah.
And there's going to be another 5% growth of the cap.
What do you want? What do you want, Tanev? If you want, at least this is the way I would.
35.
I would imagine Conroy would be. It's going to be term, and then it'll be dollars. And if we can find something, we'd love to have you. You're great. You battle.
Everyone would love him.
Ideal in our room.
2 years times $3 million, but I just don't think that's what the market's giving. I think he's way more than that from somebody. If Eric Branson got 4 times 4, what does Chris Tanev? I know he's older, but still, like, this is his last contract potentially, and it's probably his last chance to win a cup.
And it only takes that one team that would see a veteran right shot defenseman, rugged block shots. Great guy.
I think he's valuable.
Okay, let's give him more. And I think that makes, unless this is where he wants to be, it makes it tough, I would think.
Yeah, and he might want to be here, but at the same time, it's like the GM calls and is like, look, here's what we're looking at. You've got how many springs left to lift a trophy?
Yeah.
Not many. We can help you here.
That's right. Just don't go to Edmonton. God almighty, for whatever you do. Did you boys light it up at the tourney? Asks KQ.
There were some skeptics, Dean, amongst us.
There were many people who were questioning the general manager and the work, the effort, the sweat that he had put into this project. And those critics were silenced, soundly silenced, and quickly so. In game number 1 of the tournament.
Immediately silenced.
Yeah, immediately silenced. I was not sure. I was one of the skeptics.
Is that right, you?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't have been a negative Nelly glass half empty.
Glass half empty, yeah, a little bit. Maybe. We'll have to check the tape. Because you brought back Mandeep, who we knew was fantastic.
All-star.
Then it was Jack, who we
didn't know.
had no... And Jack, well, I
was sick of it, and I went to football.
I played like it.
Steelers didn't see enough in me, and now I don't play football anymore.
Yeah, I was 13 before I was 14, and I was playing hockey when I was 13. Jesus Christ, Jack. So Jack,
good or not?
I likened him to Connor Zary. You knew he was there. There was youth.
That's heady praise.
But you kind of forgot, and then all of a sudden, this guy gets on the ice and makes an impact. I was taken aback.
Where I thought Jack would be, I was blown away by RJ. I had very, very large question marks about what kind of player was. He's rangy, he's long, he's smart.
He's a nerd.
No, the hockey player.
Oh,
very good player, a solid piece, and that was the biggest gap between my expectation and what the player was. RJ was awesome.
You know what it was? As soon as he took the glasses off, I said to him, like, you look like an athlete all of a sudden.
I know.
Like you look like a kind of with the glasses on. But you took the glasses off, and then all of a sudden he put the bucket on. Do you see me? He's kind of like leaning into guys, like fighting off the checks and protecting the puck.
I like these guys. Yeah.
Tell you what. Then and again, it makes
Mosser in net, great feet.
Mosser was doing great.
He just held the fort back there. You cannot get passes anywhere around the net without him kicking it away.
And I've said this before.
Somebody use their feet like that.
If you don't like Pinder, you would hate to know that he's a very good hockey player. It would drive you crazy.
We just move with a little bit of pace and try to get in the way. That's all.
There's a lot of pace. You're very quick. You're shifty. Good hands.
Getting better. Don't say that often.
It usually doesn't. Yeah, it's not usually how that goes. But
coaching kids, you get to handle the puck 4 days a week. You're like, I might not be a bad puck handler anymore.
I put it on social media. Whether you're in a debate with you, or at the bar trying to outdrink you, or whatever, you have a real competitive streak. You don't take.
I don't like to lose.
You don't like laying the weapon down and just kind of admitting defeat or taking the L. And
there's no surrender.
Today against Oilers Nation,
tone was set early.
It was really quite a show. There was debate over the lineups. On the line changes.
They're greasy, and you have to draw a line in the sand immediately, or you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. There has to be a line drawn early, and I was like, look, we're shorthanded. We've asked you to play 3-on-3. You have the right to say no. You said no. We'll play you 4-on-4. That's totally fair. Those are the rules. But don't go changing on the fly on us now, because that's a rule, and you've got extra bodies. Like, bleep off. And we beat them.
I wasn't aware that it was a rule, but
one of us read the rules.
I guess so.
I had to do it to sign the waiver.
Now, the other part of it is now we've talked about Jack. Now, today, Jack, dog shit.
I think he was still drunk for the first half of the first game, but after that, a liability.
I looked over, and he was on one knee.
Just sweating, leaking.
Just like there's the water bottle just.
Hey, do you have any Gatos?
Because you tucked him into bed last night, didn't you? Put him to bed at about 4:30.
He was intent on staying up later than me, which is a fool's errand.
Again, you don't do it. Don't take on Pinder in certain.
Tonight's the night I'm gonna outlast you. I'm like, no, you're not, and I'll have to have someone tuck you in. This is not a good idea. We play tomorrow in the morning.
Jack's just hammering. I'm gonna drink, and you're like juggling flaming swords. It's like, no, I think I'm gonna be okay.
You know those Irish dances.
You have an ability to stick with it even while the anyway.
As long as not testing
Jack was terrible. So anyway, but yes, big win, championship run for Teams Flame.
We're bringing a trophy home.
Damn right we are. Yeah, damn right we are. What do you think, Jack? Got more? That's it. That'll do it. So the Flames lose by a score of 3-1 in a close. We were asked by those other guys, do you think there's going to be lots of zip, lots of spice? Think it's going to be spicy? And I said, I don't think so. And I did not feel much in the way of that at all.
No, and like it can always happen in a Battle of Alberta, but this just didn't. There was nothing coming into this.
No.
There's no animosity between these
Good point by you. If Pospisil is in, maybe he does something to energize or to get under their skin, and then that gets it going. But there's no real instigators.
Cock is big, but don't confuse big with like shit disturber. I mean, maybe he can be that, but that's not really how we got here.
So that'll do it. Support the sponsors. Thanks to everybody for jumping on board. Subscribe, like, tell a friend.
Unless you don't like the show.
Unless you don't like it. If you hate it, then just mind your own business.
Big thank you to the Jasper Park Lodge, Tourism Jasper. Booster Juice has been awesome. Handing out awards for player of the game. Betway has been huge here. Everyone's rocking the Betway hoodies, having a bunch of fun. And people were hitting some parlays today on the NFL.
Yeah, they were.
And honestly, these events don't happen without great sponsors like that. So big tip of the cap to all of them.
Truth bomb by you. Well done. That'll do it, everybody. We have a game on Tuesday. Me and you?
God, no.
No?
The Flames and Blues?
Yeah, Afterburner.
Yeah, we're at the Greagle.
We'll be at the Greagle. Speaking of great sponsors, the
Right.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino will be on the stage bar.
I thought you meant another
No.
game. I'm done for a bit.
You're done, eh? Yeah.
Groins.
Yeah, me too. Feet are killing me. Good night, everybody. See you, buddies.